Each time I go home, I see the things I have already bought for my baby. I see them. I see the wardrobe. I see the clothes. I see the shoes. I see everything. Whenever I go to the market, I'll buy something. I see all of that. So how can I just say no? I do not want to try again. The baby gave up in that big hospital where I thought that was going to be the last bus stop. I thought that we're actually going to come out with the baby healthy from that place. That was what I thought. I don't know. Today, in today's video, I'm not just feeling so hyper like myself. I am really broken, and I want to share this to someone out there who actually may be passing through the same thing right now and feeling like it's the end of the world, or maybe feeling like there may not be a light at the end of the tunnel. I'm here because of you. All right, I'm making this video. I was just touched to make this video today. I normally, don't feel so low like this. Yeah, but in today's video, I don't know, I just had to take time to reflect back on all the things I have been through and how quickly God changed my story. So if you want to hear it all, please stick and watch to the end of this video. You're going to be very grateful you did. I got married 2022 February, and the month of love, actually. Yeah, my husband just wanted us to be done with the wedding prior to his birth month, which was March. And as young couples, I don't know, we initially said we weren't going to start trying to have kids until the next year. We just wanted to have fun. All right, so the first month passed, that February passed, and the month of March, towards the ending of March, my husband and I changed our plans. It was a joint thing because I was already feeling like, why not just, after marriage, a lot of people are going to advise you and tell you things, but I just wanted to, like, okay, since this is a responsibility that I can never run away from, why not just do it at once? And you know I just plan to, like, do this back to back, year after year thing. So I talked to him about it, and he said he too has been thinking about it, that it's just best to do it. Like, this house is big and empty, and at least we can just start trying, because we're not even sure that it will happen instantly, but you know let us just start trying for now. So we started trying that month of March towards ending. As God may have it, but I didn't see my period. It means I got pregnant. We were so happy, as a first time mom. I told everyone that cared to listen. I called friends, family members. The first person I told was actually my mom, then my mother-in-law, and every other person. But our neighbors, we didn't let them know. They were just like, you're going to change. What's happening? And all of that. I just didn't want to tell them until it was so obvious that I was pregnant. Fast forward to the due date, the delivery, and all of that. I had the baby. It was a baby boy, but something sad happened. I had the baby by 2:15 a.m. midnight, and the next we were discharged that same morning. So the next day, I actually had that baby in a maternity, which I regret to date, but I don't know if that's the reason for anything that has happened. So I think the baby wasn't thoroughly checked, and it wasn't an easy one. It was a prolonged labor. It took time, and I was induced so many times for before the labor started properly and all of that. So if we were in a big hospital, maybe I would have just been operated on, and everyone will be happy and safe. Labor actually started by 4 p.m. after so many inducing tablets and injections and all of that. So by 4 p.m. labor started. The story is a very, it's quite painful, for first timer. I didn't expect that it was going to be that terrible, and I don't know if that's how it has been with every other person. So it was just a first time experience. So I pushed the baby. The baby was like 4.5, if I'm not mistaken, 4.5 kg. A baby that big. I was pushing a baby that big. Yeah. And by God's grace, I pushed him out. Baby couldn't cry because the baby was so weak. So later the baby cried. The morning by 9 a.m. we were discharged. At that time my husband had already come, so we were discharged and we went home. All right. Now fast forward to 3 a.m. Like after just like 25 hours after I had the baby, the baby's body became hot from the waist to the head was so hot, while from the waist downward was so cold. My mom was like, what could this mean? She had never seen anything like this before. So we're waiting for at least 6 a.m. so we can go to the hospital to know what the problem was. Of course, we weren't taking him back to where I had given birth to him because that was just a maternity. So we need to go to a pediatrician, yeah. So in the morning, went to the nearest health center. They said they directed us to somewhere else. We went to that place. That one also directed us to another place. And by the time we got to the final bus stop, you know, the baby had already given up. Yeah. I said I'm not going to cry in this video because, I believe I've gotten over it because it's all in the past now, but it's still painful. Yeah, because that was my first pregnancy and the first baby I've ever had in my life, so we lost the baby. And I don't know, something shocking happened. On our way going to the hospital, I started feeling, to the last place where we went to before they confirmed that the baby had given up. I started feeling emotionally weak. Like I burst into tears. Like I just started crying. I cannot explain. My mom was like, "Why are you crying? Your baby is going to be fine. Why are you crying?" I couldn't explain. I felt so cold within me. I was barely recovering. Someone that has just had a baby, and I was walking up and down instead of me to just relax at home. I was supposed to stay back, but most hospitals are going to be like, "Where's the mother of this baby, this child?" If the mother is alive, they want to see the mother. So that was why. Of course, if I had stayed back, I would not be at rest because I would just want to see how everything was playing out. So the baby gave up in that big hospital where I thought that was going to be the last bus stop. I thought that we're actually going to come out with the baby healthy from that place. That was what I thought. When we got to the hospital, it was a very big one. I said, okay, this place is going to be expensive, but at least, we're going to save this baby here. Yeah, that was what I said in my heart. And I looked at my husband. I told him that this place is going to be expensive, but yes, we'll have our baby. Like, our baby is going to be okay here. And I didn't know that the baby was going to give up there. Okay, so the pain, my mom, she didn't tell me. In fact, I don't know how they arranged the whole thing with the driver. They kept the baby in the boat. Of course, they gave them a death certificate there. They put the baby in the boat. No one told me anything. So my mom said that the baby was in the incubator. And, and I asked her, how can it be a baby of 41 weeks plus? I've read things, all right, and I know from what I have read that it's a premature baby that can be in the incubator. So how can it be in that, in the incubator? And why did I not see him? So sorry, guys. Whenever I remember this, I cry. I don't know if it's because, I don't know, the joy of seeing your child, your baby, like a child that formed in your womb. The joy is is undeniable. And hearing that kind of shocking thing, guys, it made me, there were a lot of things that happened to me after the loss of that baby. So when I questioned my mom and asked her why the baby was in the incubator, she said that it's because the baby's body was so hot that they just need to keep him there to make his body temperature okay, and the doctor said we should come back in the evening so I can breastfeed him. I was a little bit relieved, but my mom's phone was just ringing here and there. My husband, they were just answering calls, and I started feeling somehow like, I hope these people are actually telling me the truth. I started looking for my phone. My mom had collected my phone, deleted all the pictures I took in the hospital, and also turned the phone off. At that point, I suspected, but I was so weak. I couldn't even say much. Forward to when my mom opened up to me when we had gotten home, they had already done everything, buried the child. So my mom now told me that she just called me. I was like, "What are you thinking?" I said, "I'm thinking about my son. You said we'll be going back to the hospital in the evening, right? To go and see him so I can breastfeed him." My mom said, "Anyways, I just have to tell you this. As painful as it may sound, you have to take heart. Your son is no more." My God. Ah. At that moment, I burst into tears. Like, my grandmom was there, my husband was there, my mother was there. I did not know how to control myself again. I said, so all this feeling I've been having within me, they are true. That the boy has died and nobody told me. Guys, it was so painful. It was so painful that, anyways, after that, and I cried, we wept, we mourned, we prayed as well. We told God that He had given, and we don't know what has happened, but that He should console us, and we hope for a better news soon. So myself and my husband, we went home because I actually went to my mom's place to have the baby. So we went back to our house, and the house started feeling empty again. You know, the most traumatizing part of it is that I saw people who, you know, who were pregnant together. They were with their children, with their babies. By the time I came back, they already have their babies in the same compound in my street. Like, when I saw, like, whenever I see them that time, I would just feel so heartbroken. But, trying to wear a tough skin, trying to be strong. But when I get to the house, I would cry. In the middle of the night, I would cry. I would hold the clothes I bought for him. I would cry with them and wish that he would just come back and wear them. Even when I found out that the baby was no more, I begged so I could just see him for the last time. They didn't let me. Months went by, and I realized that the best way I can get over it is to try and open up and try to have another one, you know. So I started trying again. We started trying again. Not quite long, like 2 months or so after I got pregnant again. This time around, I was more happier than even the first one because I said, okay, my joy, my time is here. This is the child that is going to actually replace the one that I have lost. The child that is coming to make me feel fulfilled and not feel lonely and bored all of the time when his dad has gone to work. Yeah, that was what I thought. And but one thing I could say about that pregnancy is that the my bump was actually bigger than the age of the pregnancy. I don't know if you get. Okay, I was 2 3 months and it was already obvious. Like everyone already knew, and I do not really naturally have a big tummy, so everyone already knew that I was pregnant at the third month. So I just didn't know what was not in place with that pregnancy. So I said, okay, maybe when I go, I'll try and go for scan, so I would know it's um if it's not single, all right, if I'm having twins or something like that. So I was supposed to go and register the 12th week. No, after going to run a test, blood test, to see that yes, I was pregnant. So I told my husband, and we're so happy about it. And I said, okay, by the 12th week, I would go and register. That's the 3 months. I was actually going for a scheme registration where if you register before 13 weeks, you're going to have access to 50-50 payments of everything you purchase. Maybe if you do a scan, if you buy drugs, if you do tests, even your delivery, like everything is going to be, if you're on a scheme. So that was why I said, okay, I was going to go by the 12th month, and this time around, no maternity, whatever, let me just go to a normal hospital. The day that I was actually supposed to make it complete 12 weeks from my own counting was on a Thursday. So prior to that day, the Wednesday evening, I went to my husband's shop and I decided to sleep over there. So the next morning, after bathing, and I went with clothes. So by the next morning, I would just head to the hospital from the shop. So I told my husband about it and he agreed. So I locked up my business place where I was selling slippers and handbags and all of that. That Thursday morning, I woke up and I don't know if I would say this whole thing is negligence. I don't know. Because before that day, I started having droppings. I think 3 days to that day, I started having droppings and they were so minor. In this journey of pregnancy, there's nothing one should take for granted. I didn't know. So the droppings were just very minor, very little. So I said, okay, since I'm going to the hospital by Thursday, let me just go once and for all and find out whatever and then know what to do. So that Thursday morning I woke up. I was expecting maybe the little drop that there was even no need to wear a pad, like just like a discharge, like something minor. And lo and behold, I felt like it was heavier. All right, I felt like the blood was heavier. It was all over me. So only for me to bend down to remove my undies to really check. I don't know what just happened, but it felt like water broke. Like everywhere was wet. It just felt like water from my body broke, wet with blood and mucus and all of that. From the research I have done, this should be when someone is in labor. So how come this is happening now? So suddenly I felt like it dropped down because I felt like the tummy was up before that day. So immediately after that water breaking kind of thing, it just came down. It was just like it was pressed down or pushed down towards my waist area instead of the normal belly position. That was when I started having severe pains. The pains actually started like menstrual cramp, a very serious one, before it now became so severe. Like the pain became so severe that at some point before we got to the hospital, I could not feel my hands like this. Like I could not feel. I was trying to like see if I still own these hands. Like I don't know if anybody has experienced it before, trying to fold your arms like this and you're not feeling that you're folding your arms, like someone that was on some kind of anesthesia or something. I don't know. So I wasn't feeling my hands anymore. I wasn't feeling my legs. So the last thing I just remember was that on getting to the hospital, I was trying to, okay, I was asked to go wash my body so they can, you know, um, start treatment or whatever. I can't remember. So I said I cannot go alone because I'm feeling so weak. So they asked a matron, I don't know, a midwife or a nurse to go with me. So we went to the bathroom. I was when I noticed that from my husband's office, when I noticed that the blood was heavier, I wore a pad. So just for me to remove that pad, something huge came out. Something very big came out. It was like bloody. It wasn't blood, but it was wrapped with blood. They were actually two things. The other one looked like a forming placenta, while the other one was too covered with blood. I couldn't see it. So I shouted. The senior nurse came and she said, "Wow, there's nothing we can do at this point. You've lost this pregnancy." Hmm. I would not lie. At that point, I was actually trying to be fine, get myself. Because if I'm being sincere here, that was so painful. It was more painful than the delivery I had, like the baby, giving birth to a baby thing. It was actually more painful than that. Miscarriage, you would not even wish it for your enemy. So she said, "You've lost this pregnancy. There's nothing we can do at this point. You guys came late, you know." I started sweating. Immediately it came out, I just, like, it was as if my strength was restored. I started sweating. So when I went back inside, I couldn't even cry. So she was like trying to, trying to prepare bills and all of that. The pain came up again. That severe pain in my abdomen, as if, I don't know, I cannot explain it. It came up again. So severe this time around. I was feeling cold, I was feeling hot, everything at the same time. I started shouting again. She was like, "What is the problem? You've lost the pregnancy. The baby is not there anymore. So why?" She came in and she checked again and said that there's another baby there. My God. I said, "God." See, we are not meant to question God, all right? But there are some cases, there are some situations you find yourself, you will not really know if the right thing is just to ask God why. Like, there are some cases, there are some situations you find yourself, you just be like, at this point now, what do I do? Should I still pray at this point, or should I cry, or should I just pour out my heart? I was like, "God, please save this one for me. Please save this one for me." That was all my strength could say. That was all I could say. I started rolling on the floor. I started rolling on the floor. So she asked me to, either we're going to have an evacuation, of course, or if I can try sitting on the bucket to see if I can push it out or something like that. I chose the option of sitting on the bucket because I felt like if it's not meant to be, if it's still safe, then it won't come out. Of course, there's no amount of push I push that will bring it out. But if it's already on the way, like the woman said, she said it was already out of the womb, then it will come out. So I sat on the bucket. She asked me to push like someone that was trying to pull, and I was just pushing lightly because I didn't really even want it to be like, to come out. But lo and behold, it came out. That one was not covered with blood. I really saw everything. I really saw the head, the folded hands, the tail, because I didn't see legs. I just saw folded. Like, I saw it. I told my husband, "Is this my baby?" I asked him, "Is this my baby?" I now remembered what I had been through. God, the first one I lost after delivery. I went through my postpartum without a baby to show for it. And now another one. Am I like, is it that marriage, childbearing is not meant for me? Or what is the problem? I started feeling bad. I cried. I cried. In fact, the second one broke myself, my husband. The both of us, we cried uncontrollably because it was in the midnight. No one was there to console us. No one was there to ask us to stop crying. We all cried. We cried so much, so much. Like, I had never seen a man cry the way my husband cried that night. I think we just needed that to free our hearts. I think we just needed that. So the miscarriage happened August. So after that, that August when the miscarriage happened, my first period after the miscarriage was September 29th, which I cannot forget because it actually came late. So I thought already, I was like, I hope there are no particles. What is left? Why is Why is the period not yet out? Actually, I didn't want to give up. Yeah, it was painful. I went through a lot, but giving up was not an option. What gave me the courage was seeing people that, the people that I had that first baby with, their babies have grown, a year plus, and I'm still here. No, I cannot. Each time I go home, I see the things I have already bought for my baby. I see them. I see the wardrobe. I see the clothes. I see the shoes. I see everything. Whenever I go to the market, I'll buy something. I see all of that. So how can I just say no? I do not want to try again. And that would be accepting my defeat. So I called him. I think we should start trying again. We were not even expecting any good news anytime soon. We were expecting good news, but not soon. But we just said since we had just finished the treatment, let's just start trying. So we started trying. Guys, after September is October. That October, I never saw my period again. It didn't come out that October. It didn't come out November. I started feeling somehow. I started feeling weak. I started feeling like someone who's pregnant because already I've been pregnant twice. So I know my signs and symptoms. I had to go, and at that point I was like, no need for blood test because this is already past 1 month. So if I use a PT strip, it's actually going to be very clear. I did with that PT strip, and it was positive. When I found out, I didn't know if I was to rejoice. Yes, I was happy, but I was like, I hope there won't be another miscarriage. I hope there won't be another child loss. I'm just going to I'm just going to try and be very careful in this pregnancy. I do not want any bad news again. I closed down my business. Yes, I closed down my business. The lady that treated me said, I do not need stress. Anything that will stress me, that will make me carry anything heavy, that will make me bend down or do anything tedious, I should just avoid it. So that was it. I became just an indoor, like I was on bed rest. I stayed on bed rest until time for delivery, until about 8 months, 9 months. That was when I started doing all the things I would do in the house: sweep, wash, cook, clean, and all of that. Until I went for antenatal when I was due. I think I was like for 39 weeks plus. So I went for antenatal, and they told me that I cannot go home. That I was already 3 cm dilated. That I should call anybody at home to get my hospital bags ready. That was how I had my baby. I think I've made a video where I had my baby, the things that happened, and all of that before. So this is just to you that is thinking that you stayed for 5 years, 10 years, 2 years, 1 year, however. I don't know how long you've waited to have your own testimony, to have your baby. There shall be no barren in the land. If you believe in the words and promises of God, and also you've checked yourself medically, you're fine, everything is okay. Even those that the medical professionals will declare, barren, impotent, sometimes miraculously they end up having babies. So if you've checked and everything is fine, this video is particularly for you. Do not give up, all right? So you can actually learn from my story. Make yourself happy, pamper yourself, be happy, be joyful. The least moments when you expect these things are the time that they actually happen. Believe that yes, people have carried, people have given birth to, people have had their babies. God will not see me and change. I always say that whenever I am troubled and I am faced with any obstacle, I say, God, you have done it for people in the past. You will not see me and change because you are the God that changeth not. My own story will not be negatively different. If it has to be different, then it will be positively different. These are the words that I affirm, I say every day. And since then, God has been faithful. At least now, I have my baby boy. As at this time last year, I gave birth to my baby this month is actually making him 1 year. Yeah, I think these are one of the things that also made me to reflect deeply. 29th of this month is going to be 1 year old. As at this time last year, I was heavily pregnant, still expecting, believing God that the journey will be successful and smooth. Thank you for watching this video. If you watch to this point, I hope you're encouraged. All right, I hope you know that You're not the first person. You're not going to be the last. You're not even the only person in the world. There are millions of people who are battling with infertility issue. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.